Okay. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to the Hebrew Chosen Elect Sabbath class. Hope everybody's feast of dedication was good. Hope everybody's paid off day was good without the giving into the spirit that the world's giving into, and the visiting of the family and taking part of the feast of sinless. But I hope everybody enjoyed that free paid day off. I know I did. I kicked my feet up and really just did nothing all day. So, you know, with that being said, last 3 weeks we went into the history of Hanukkah um, in depth, going into the Bible, showing where that history is documented in the books of First and Second Maccabees, and how also Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus Christ, how he kept um, that feast of dedication, not his birthday, in the wintertime in the book of John. So this week we'll be going into the history of Christmas and how it's a lie, um, and the Christmas spirit is a lying spirit. Going into its history, how it ties to different pagan customs and idolatrous rites, and how that it has nothing to do with the birth of our Savior, who the world calls Christ. So where they get Christmas, there's nothing to do with Christ. So we'll be going into that and showing how it's a vain tradition. And before we get started, as always, I give all praise, glory, honor, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. Also, I don't have really any announcements today, but if you'd like to donate and help out our ministry, please do so through Cash App at hashtag Hebrew Chosen Elect, or in person. We also accept physical cash donations. So throughout in advance for any help through arms and through Cash App. Thank you in advance. With that, we'll get straight into it by first going into the book of John, chapter 17 and verse 17. We'll start out this class in the book of John, chapter 17, verse 17. I'll pull that up. Let me share my screen. So, Kalak, are you there? Could you read that? Bring that out for me.
Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth.
Thy word is truth. So, sanctify means to cleanse. Matter of fact, let me go ahead while I'm at it. Just get that definition. So it says, sanctify them. Let me have that. Sanctify them through thy truth. What's the meaning of sanctify? Sanctify means to set apart as or declare holy. So the scriptures say that we as Israelites are a holy people, holy to the Most High. So in the book of John, it says sanctify them, meaning set apart, declare holy the Israelites through thy truth. And it says thy word is truth. So like Isaiah chapter 8 and 20 says, let me go there. It says, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. And then Isaiah, he also says at 8 and 20. If you could bring that out.
Isaiah 8 and 20. To the law and to the testimonies, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
So if it's not according to the word of the Most High Yahweh, which is what Christ followed, what Christ spoke, what Christ taught, if it's not according to that word, there's no light in it. Meaning what? It's a lie. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. If it's according to the law and to the testimony. So to the law being what? The instructions, what's right and wrong for you to take part in your life. And to the testimony of who? The word, the prophets, who all prophesied of Christ. It's got to be according to the word, because what this lie called Christmas, one of those main focuses of this whole meshing of different customs and festivities. One of the main thing is in the name Christmas is supposed to symbolize the birth of Christ. But that testimony you don't find in the word. So that's part of the lie that we've been taught through slavery, through oppression, through colonialization, through the world, that December 25th is a day we should commemorate and celebrate, because the birth of the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But we're not going to find that anywhere in the word. So that making it not of light, a complete falsehood and lie from the devil. So so from there we'll get into this class, a lie called Christmas, and like Romans 1:25 said, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. That's another part of this holiday. It's really about serving the creature, that creature more than the creator, that creature being who? Yourself. That's another thing. Christmas is about what you can get for yourself, and giving in and make everybody getting things. It's about gaining more carnal possessions. That's the gift giving. So first we're going to this book called Vain Traditions, and it has a section in it called Christmas Stuff, right? Dealing with all the different things with Christmas, history of the Santa Claus tree and all of that. And it starts, Christmas, the greatest celebration of selfishness and greed the world has ever known. And that's what I was going into, serving the creature more than the creator. It's not about giving to and building anyone up out of a poor estate. At the most, people will do toy drives and give out, get together in the different groups and take donations and give one toy per child at the school or wherever, or at a community center. But these kids ain't living on the streets. And these kids, 9 times out of 10, they having a good Christmas at home with their parents providing gifts, and they just getting one extra gift at these toy drives. Other than that, it's not really about getting any of your people out of that poor state. It's really just about giving a quick little handout and feeling good about yourself. That's what the giving of Christmas is really about. Let's be honest. It's about making yourself feel good. Oh, I gave out a toy. I gave some toys out. Maybe gave out some soups. And now I've did my job and I'm going home. And it's all about getting everything I can get. Who's giving me gifts? And it's about that tree and making sure that tree is packed with all types of new carnal possessions, the new iPhones, new video games, the new hottest hoodie out, sweatsuit out, how this new Jordan's out. That's what Christmas is about. It's about bringing in carnal things, and with the economy, with the powers that be, it's about selling us these items, selling us these different things. It's about boosting the economy. That's why you have your Cyber Mondays. That's why you have your Black Friday sales. That's why you have just all types of different sales, all from Thanksgiving up to Christmas, because this is a time everybody's coming spending money. It's going to boost the economy to such a point. Companies can take 30% off for what would normally be 100. Now they can sell for 70 because the masses are coming out in bulk and spending that money. So Christmas is the greatest celebration of selfishness and greed the world has ever known, and was never kept with such intensity in the past. Because it's on an all-time high. You see Christmas everywhere. The lights, the Home Depot is selling the 20-foot tall light up statues or yard, what they call yard decor. It's at an all-time high. It's everywhere. It used to be you'd have maybe one house in a county or town that's just so lit up that everybody wants to come and see how they got their house. Now everybody's able to do that. So you see houses decorated with lights through the grass from the bottom to the top of the house. It's looking amazing everywhere because now you can go anywhere and get all types of new lights and decor because everywhere has it. It's never been kept the way it's kept today. The observance was even outlawed by American Puritan colonists. So the founders of America, it was outlawed at one point. But now it is deeply ingrained in the mass conscience by annual mass practice, relentlessly driven by merchants with massive greed. That's what I'm talking about, the Cyber Mondays, the Black Fridays, all the different sales throughout the quote-unquote holiday season. The Yuletide extravaganza, we'll go into that a little bit. The Yule celebration. The Yuletide extravaganza is nowhere commanded or even found in the scriptures yet. We see the familiar signs admonishing, put Christ back into Christmas. So some places you'll hear that, put Christ back into Christmas, when he was never there in the first place. Christ was never in Christmas in the first place. Nowhere will we find in the Bible that he was born on Christmas or even in the winter at all. Santa Claus. It should be quite obvious to everyone that a rotund, bearded man in a red suit who is omniscient, knows who's been bad or good, omnipresent, visits every home in the world simultaneously on Christmas or Christmas Eve, and is eternal. He never grows old. Has absolutely nothing to do with the birth of the Messiah. Yet it is surprising how many Christians feed their children the lie. And that's what you always hear, right? It's about the kids. Even with adults. I don't keep it. I don't really care for it, but it's about the kids. Yeah, Santa's not real, but let's not tell them because let's let their imaginations run wild. It's about the kids, but it's teaching your kids a lie. Ought we to teach our children to lie? When what commandment is it? The 8th or the 9th? The 9th. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Why would we start with our children at a young age teaching them a lie that has nothing to do with the birth of Christ? And it really serves no benefit in raising them up to be, live profitable lives and to be a benefit to society. There's no need for the belief of Christmas, for the belief of Santa. That's no different. You don't need your kids to believe in He-Man. You don't need them to believe that Ninja Turtles are real. You don't need to make your kids believe that Elmo's real, and we don't, right? But when it comes to Santa, oh, don't ruin their childhood. Don't tell them that he's fake, but that's the truth. There's no light in Santa, and when you flip the N and the T, or the you flip around the T and A and put the flip the anyway, put the N at the end and put the A after the T, it spells what? Satan. And that's exactly what it is. He is Satan. He's a form of Satan because he is a lie. And Satan is the author of lies. Let's give Revelation chapter 22, verse 14 to 15. Going into this idea of let's teach our kids a lie because it's fun and God forbid that they don't believe that there's a old white fat bearded white man in a red jumpsuit flying around the whole earth in one night with reindeer leading his sled. God forbid that they don't believe that. You got that? Read that, please.
Revelation 22:16.
14 to 15.
14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
Revelations 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments.
And if you're reading on the screen, it says Barak, which is Hebrew for blessed. So blessed are they that do his commandments. Go ahead.
That they might have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city.
So keeping the commands gives us rights or authority to the tree of life, to be heirs unto the tree of life. And that we go through the gates into the city. What city is that? The new kingdom, Jerusalem. We have to keep the commandments to get there. Go ahead.
For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
See that? So that's good. So when we teach our children to believe in Santa Claus and his elves and reindeer and believe that he's able to do the miraculous things he can do, delivering how many people's on planet? Let's say 8 billion. 8 billion presents in one night. Basically giving him the title of the Most High. Basically. You can't sit there. Sit right here. Basically giving him the title of the Most High. We want to teach our children a lie, but then we want to make it to the kingdom, which there'll be no liars, people who love a lie or make a lie inside the kingdom. Outside will be the dogs, the murderers, idolaters, those that love and make those lies. So why would we teach our children that? Our children that we supposedly love more than ourselves. But just because for a little bit of fun, which there's a million different things that kids enjoy to have fun. You don't even deprive a child of childhood fun by removing Christmas. But we love them so much, it's wrong to tell them the truth. That Christmas is a lie, Santa Claus is a lie, the elves, the sleighs, the giving gifts to billions of children, it's all a lie. We're benefiting our children and their possibility of making it into the kingdom when we expose the lies and show them the truth and basically and set them free, right? And sanctify them. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. So, reading on in this book, Vain Traditions, falsehood is exactly what this whole holiday, or we call Folly Day, is based on. Think how shattering this is to the belief of a child when they learn the truth, and then question if their parents are also lying about the existence of their creator. See that? The jolly, rotund, bearded man in a red suit, who we know as Santa Claus, is based on an actual person who lived in Europe around the 3rd century CE. His name was Nicholas, and I believe later on in my document, I got a one of the early depictions of this Saint Nicholas, the real Saint Nicholas, and he was, guess what, a so-called black man, right? So his name was Nicholas because he apparently was such a nice guy. He was given sainthood, another Catholic link, after his death, and remembered as Saint Nicholas, right, on the photo to the right. So later I'll show the original image, and I think I provide a little bit. If it's not in my document, we can go on Wikipedia, and you'll see how they, to make this character Santa Claus, they stole a little bit of the truth of what this actual person named um, Nicholas, I believe he was in Germany, the things he did, his basically gift giving, right? Reading on. If you say, yeah, he was like, if you say this with a Germanic accent, it sounds exactly like Saint Nicholas. Oh, that, speaking of Saint Nicholas, it's like I was putting myself off, man. When you say it in German, which I believe he was located in Germany, that's how it sounds when they gave him sainthood, Saint Nicholas. Over time, he became more of a legend than reality, and now Saint Nicholas rides in a sled pulled by flying reindeer, is omniscient, omnipresent, and sneaks down your chimney giving presents to good children. However, Revelation 19:6-7. Yeah, Revelation 19:6-7. It goes completely against the idea of Santa Claus being this omniscient, omnipresent God. I said, what verse?
Revelation 19:6-7.
Go ahead.
Revelations 19:6. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a mighty thunderings, saying, Hallelujah, for Yahweh, our power, is omnipotent and reigneth. Let us be glad.
Yahweh, our God, omnipotent, omnipotent, reigneth. Because the only being that's omnipotent is Yahweh. So they've taken the truth of God and turned it into a lie by giving, first off, taking this real individual, using him to build this this make-believe character named Santa Claus or Saint Nick, who was omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. Going back.
7.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, read 7.
Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife have made herself ready.
All praises. So yeah, there's this this Santa Claus character is basically a mockery of the Most High God, right? So Christmas is about Santa Claus, the birth of Jesus, the Yule time, caroling, what else? The tree, Christmas trees, and wreaths on your door. None of these things are scriptural, but we'll get to into the detail of those things as well. Reading back in the book vein traditions, Christian holidays, question mark. Warning signs. Why would the world want to celebrate anything to do with it says Yahushua, but Yahushua. Yahushua himself said that the world would hate him. That's a good question they wrote in this book. John 15:18 lets us know that. It says, if the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. But everybody celebrates Christmas because, oh, it's the birth of Christ, but then but then you add in Christmas trees and gift giving and presents and Santa Claus. Where's the Christ in that? And it's pretty much the whole world that's celebrating. That goes against the things that Yahweh said about himself. He said, the world hated me before it hated you. Then the world hates him because he exposes the evil hearts of man. John 7:7, it says, it is impossible for the world to hate you, but it hates me, because I bear witness of it, that its works are wicked. So that's another thing. And the truth of Christmas is everything about it is wicked, because it's all based off lies. And if it was based on Christ, the world wouldn't follow it, because Christ came to bear witness of the world and its wicked works. No. So no. The obvious answer is the world doesn't celebrate Yahweh because Christmas has absolutely nothing to do with Yahweh. Moving on. An evergreen tree. As a matter of fact, before I move on, let me add Christmas, the birth of Christ, right? December 25th. December 25th, the birth of Christ. Kalak, if you could you bring out Luke chapter 2, verse 7 to 8? Mm-hmm.
Luke 2:7. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks by night.
So this is the birth of Christ, right? And what was happening? Read it. You just read it.
There were in that same country shepherds abiding in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks by night.
So there's shepherds keeping watch over the flocks by night. There were shepherds keeping flocks by watch at night. Well, simple Google search let you know. So during the birth of Christ, shepherds were in the field keeping watch by night. Shepherds in Israel generally move sheep into enclosed, sheltered folds during the wet, cold winter nights, December to February, rather than keeping them in the open fields. And if you know anything about this short life you've lived, you know that now the winter months are a little bit less severe than the past winter months when we grew up as children, are they not? So you got to imagine back then it was even colder. But either way, they do not keep flocks in the field at night during the winter months. So that's the cut. And to add that nowhere in the Bible does it say that Christ was born in the winter or in December, specifically December 25th. Nowhere. That's not documented. But what you do have is the night of his birth, the shepherds were keeping the flocks in the field at night, which is not something that the shepherds do in Israel during the winter months. So this is another cut on Christmas having nothing to do with Christ. Now, reading on about an evergreen tree. Why do we adorn a tree with gold and silver balls and put presents under it when Scripture commands not to do this? Jeremiah 10, 2-4.
How?
Jeremiah 10. Jeremiah 2.
10, 2-4. The Christmas tree goes
Jeremiah 10.
completely against the word of God. So once again, first off, it's a sin and it's no light in it.
Jeremiah 10:2. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the ways of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathens are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. They deck it with silver and with gold, They fasten it with nails and with a hammer, that it moves not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must need be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
And why would anybody be afraid of them? Because this is a Babylonian custom, and we're going to go into that, how during this time, people would actually fear the tree because they believed it was the return of Nimrod or Tammuz. We're going to get that document. But it was and Nimrod was what? Basically the first wicked coming off of the boat from the flood. Nimrod was the first to turn the people against the Most High again and have the people build the tower up to Babel. Well, this tree goes back to Nimrod worship. Right, so at one point, people would be afraid not to keep the tree and give gifts to the tree, because the people that actually believe that these dead things are gods, they would fear that. And the Most High said, "Don't follow this custom that is vain, and don't fear them, because these idol gods are nothing. They don't live. They can't kill, they can't make alive, they can't make you poor, they can't take a poor man, make him rich. Keep not these customs." And it said they would deck it with silver and gold. What's that sound like? Sounds just like that old Christmas song. Silver and gold, silver and gold. So that's what, like it or not, that's what that tree in so many living rooms represents. And if you go on different um, social media chat boards, and it's a post about how the truth of the Christmas tree, the Christians come on there, trying to refute that, talking about that's not true, that was never a custom. And yes, it was. Yes, it was. Just because you don't know and you're ignorant to the facts, it first off, it doesn't even make sense. What do you got a tree in your living room for any old way? But the truth of the matter is, this was a real thing. And as you look on the screen, there's visual evidence to prove it, engraved in stone. So reading back on in the page, it says pagan religions throughout history have worshipped trees. You can't get around that. Pagan religions have worshipped trees. So when your auntie or your mom or your grandmom or whoever it is tells you that's not true, that don't make sense. Christmas trees don't go back to any type of idolatrous customs. Yes, it does. Pagan religions through history worship trees. From the earliest times of the Egyptians, erected a tree as a phallic symbol of the sun god Ra. And if you look in this image, you can see it. That's a Christmas tree. That's a Christmas tree. Just because now you put an angel at the top, that's just modern day, modified version of how they would put this image of the false god Ra, sun god Ra, at the top of their tree. See that? And that tree, for them, it represented a phallic symbol because, the Egyptians were freaks. Most of their stuff had to do with some type of sexual deviancy, right? And they offered their sacrifices and gifts to him under the tree, while the Babylonians worshiped the tree of life, which is to the right. So to the right is the Babylonians. They called it the tree of life. So I said this was the Egyptian image. This is the Babylonians. So the Babylonians, same custom, they called it the tree of life. And I got another image before I read on. Here's another one. That's a Christmas tree. That's a Christmas tree decked out with the angel on top. The evergreen tree has religiously been regarded as a symbol of the essence of life because it is always green, and was regarded as the male phallic symbol in fertility worship. So what's fertility worship? Since the earliest of times. So the tree in ancient times was regarded as a phallic symbol. Before I get that, fertility worship. Then together with the tree, the wreath to the right was a symbol of the female vagina. Just like the Ankh symbol is the sign of reproduction with the uterus and the phallic going into the vagina. It's the same idea. It's symbolic. It's the same symbolism when it comes to Christmas and the custom of the Christmas trees and the wreath on the door. Everybody that gets a tree, it used to be more. It's not so much now, but they still do it. Homes still put the wreath on the door. Back in the day, you see them all over the place. Every home have a Christmas tree in the house and a wreath on the door. So what's fertility worship? They got overview. Fertility worship involves rituals and beliefs centered on promoting reproduction in humans, animals, and crops, common in ancient pagan religions globally, featuring goddesses like Demeter or Inanna, and sometimes involving symbolic acts like ritual sex, sacrifices, And we read in Maccabees how Antiochus introduced Saturnalia in the temple. And then it also said they had to do with what? Women inside the temple when they were celebrating these festivals. So they all go back to fertility worships, and oftentimes during these seasons, these festivals, feast days, they would celebrate by having relations in their quote unquote holy places, right? Also sacrifices, prayers to the deities like Shiva, Isis, Asherah, aiming to ensure life, harvest, and childbirth through sympathetic magic. Core concepts were goal to influence the forces of nature and human life for fruitfulness, abundance, and successful reproduction. All part of idolatries and going to dead things to ask for blessings as opposed to going to the living God, right? Deities often focused on mother goddesses or gods of fertility harvest. Rituals included symbolic acts mirroring procreation, such as erotic dances, temple prostitution, offerings, and prayers. Key practices, statues with emphasize sexual features, things like this. Certain things got taken out. Why? It wouldn't attract the masses. Some of these things had to go. So, to get the whole world celebrating and to make it kid friendly, they changed certain things. They basically put makeup, lipstick, and jewels on a pig, and then got you drunk, so that you lay down with that pig, thinking, "Oh, this pig's so beautiful," but really it's still a pig. And then when y'all wake up from your drunkenness and you turn over, you're gonna see it's a damn pig in my bed. So, yeah, we can go back.
When we look at Jeremiah 10, just as we contend with a lot of Christians when Paul was writing to the people of Corinth, the people in Ephesus, we see that the message is for Israel. And likewise here, even with the prophets, this is Jeremiah 10 and 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speak unto you, O house of Israel.
Right.
We're in Babylon, but he's speaking to Israel. It's never changed. He's always been speaking to his people in different locations.
Mm-hmm. Time. Right. All praise. Back to the reading. Okay. So the phallic was symbol of female vagina. In scripture, we read the warning of the following, the example of the idol worshiping Gentiles. Ezekiel 6, verse 13.
Ezekiel 6:13. Then shall ye know that I am the Lord, when they slain men shall be among their idols around about their altars, upon their high hills, and all the tops of the mountains, and under every green tree.
So under every what?
Every green tree.
See, these green trees always have had something to do with idol worship. Go ahead.
Every green tree and under every thick oak, the place where they did offer sweet savors to all their idols.
Mm-hmm. Deuteronomy 12 and 3.
Deuteronomy 12 and 3. And ye shall throw their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves.
Hold on real quick. Deuteronomy 12, 3. Yeah, I just want to pull up. So we was commanded to destroy these things. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 12 and 3. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. And ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out of that place.
You know, also Isaiah 65, 1-7.
Isaiah 65. Yeah.
One sec. Go ahead.
Isaiah 65, 1. I am sought of them that ask not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the days unto a rebellious people, which walketh in the way that was not good after their own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
A people that provoke me to anger continually to my face. They that sacrifice in gardens and burneth incense unto altars of bricks,
Mm-hmm.
which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh and broth of abominable things is in their vessels,
Mm-hmm.
which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke of my noise. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all the days. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silent, but will recompense unto their bosom. Your iniquities and your iniquities of your fathers together, saith Yahweh, which have burned incense unto the mountains, upon the mountains, and blaspheme me upon hills. Therefore I will measure their former works into their bosom. Thus saith Yahweh, and as the new wine is found in the cluster.
Oh no, you can stop. Where did I say to go to? 7, right. So it says that we're a rebellious people that provoke him to anger by sacrificing in these gardens. What's in the gardens? Trees. You're just taking it from outside and you're bringing the trees inside. The verse we went to before, it said to tear down the groves. What's the groves? Trees. Let me see if I can look up some groves. Some images. Exactly. Trees. See that? The images are clear. These are groves. So now, obviously, it's not talking about just hanging out in the woods. What do people do in the groves? They make idols out of the trees, right? What's that one? So in America, there's a one where the elites go and they worship, right? What's it called? Can you get him? Bohemian Grove? So you see that? It's not just about. Get him out. Take him. It's not just about trees, this is where people go to worship idols. And what would you bring a tree into your house for if not to worship the tree? Trees belong outside, do they not? A tree isn't a house plant. So people need to stop. One more, 66, 15 to 17.
Isaiah 66:15. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Most High plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Most High shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine.
Hold on, behind what?
Behind
one tree.
Behind one tree.
It's always got, so trees have always been a part of idolatrous customs. So they're sanctifying themselves, doing, and what sanctified mean? Setting apart, making holy. Ain't that what these different pagan festivals are about? It's what the righteous holy days are about, but on the left-hand side. So they sanctify themselves, purify themselves behind a tree, doing what?
Eating swine's flesh.
Now today you got your Christmas tree in the house and you got your Christmas ham on the table. Eating swine's flesh, go ahead.
In the abomination.
Then you got everything else abominable. You got your ham, you got your shrimp, crab, lobster, all manner of unclean foods. Go ahead.
And the mouse shall be consumed together, saith Yahweh.
And the Most High, he's going to consume all of us that want to keep celebrating these pagan customs, celebrating these vain folly days, and refusing to return to the Lord. Now reading back on in the book, the star. The symbol of a 5-pointed star has been used as the representation of the sun god. The sun is a star. For millennium, and many people put a star atop their tree, believing it to be the star that led 3 wise men to baby Yahushua. Ignorance of the scriptures. And with that, we'll go to Ezekiel 33, 31 to 32. And that reads, and they Ezekiel 33, verse 31. And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they would not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice, and can play well on an instrument, for they hear thy words, but they do them not. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. No, take him in there. Salaki. The astronomers, scripture doesn't mention a number, didn't arrive till approximately 2 years after his birth. This is going into Yahushua. You see that in Matthew 2:16. Yeah, Matthew chapter 2, verse 16.
Matthew 2 and 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, in Ramah was the voice heard, lamentation and weeping in great mourning. Rachel's weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they are not.
Which verse you read?
I read down to 18. In Ramah, the voice was heard, lamentation and weeping in great mourning. Rachel's weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they were not.
No, I just wanted 16.
16.
Yeah, just so Howard Shah wasn't. Because the story with the birth of Christ goes that they followed the star to Yahweh Shah, right? Read it.
Read it again.
Yeah.
Matthew 2 and 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked by the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and went forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
Right. So it took 2 years for him to. Let me go back. So the tree on top of the star on top of the tree. The story goes 3 wise men. They had 3 wise men to baby Yahweh. The astronomers didn't arrive till 2 years after his birth. How do we know that? Because when Herod inquired of Yahweh, and he found out, he sent his servants to slay the children 2 years and younger, meaning what? He figured Christ to be about 2 years old or younger, right? Why December 25th? Nowhere in Scripture do we find any reference to the date of Yahweh's birth. The one thing Scripture mentions is shepherd watching flocks of sheep at night, and we already read that. Something that is not done during the winter months in Israel. It was more likely autumn, which it doesn't say that either. That's just the author of this book. We know that it's probably more likely springtime. But what it most likely is wintertime, no, December 25th. Most in the Western world do not realize that December 25th is the birth date of Tammuz, the Babylonian sun god, nor that it is the birthday of the Egyptian sun god Ra. And you read about Tammuz in Ezekiel 8, verse 13 to 18. So everybody's keeping December 25th for this special holy day that the Lord and Savior was born in, where the scriptures don't say that, don't even hint at that. But it is a known fact that that what chapter did I say?
13.
It's a known fact that December 25th does go back to Tammuz. So read 13 and down.
This is second Matthew.
8 verse 13.
Ezekiel 8. Ezekiel 8:13. He said unto me, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahweh's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
Weeping for Tammuz. So this is in Jerusalem during Ezekiel's time, and the Most High showed them that if you read up above, the men was worshiping the idols they had, all these different idols that they were worshiping in the dark, and the women, he went to the temple, they was standing outside the Lord's house worshiping Tammuz, and it describes it as being greater abominations. So that's what we're doing today when we're honoring this day, December 25th. We're closer to worshiping Tammuz than we are to worshiping the Messiah or the sun god Ra. In 168 BC, Antiochus Epiphanes occupied Jerusalem and erected a statue of Zeus in the temple, claiming Zeus was God on Zeus's birthday, December 25th. When Rome conquered Persia, the Romans adopted the worship of Mithra, the Persian version of the Babylonian Tammuz, using the same symbol, the Babylonian Taw or cross. And when they conquered Jerusalem, they hung Jewish patriots on the cross of Mithra as sacrifices to the Roman sun god, who was born on, you guessed it, December 25th. Now, and I also know it said the Romans took up the symbol tau or cross. Nowadays, let me see if I can find it. I know for a fact that in Rome, in Italy, they wear a cross on their neck that looks like a T. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Nope, these ain't it. These ain't it. I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it has a name. Oh, here it is. And it's called the towel cross. Yeah, I've seen. They still wear these today. This is exactly what we're reading about. And instead of it being this, that's the crucifix. It looks like a T for what? Tammuz. And I never knew it was called the towel cross. So they got that, as we just read. The Babylonian towel, they got it from the Persian version of the Babylonian Tammuz. See that? Which this date goes back to December 25th. After Constantine, and we're going to read about Antiochus Epiphanes' statue of Zeus in the temple when he was celebrating Saturnalia. We'll get that as we read down later. So after Constantine's conversion, what believer would mint a coin with his face in the image of a false god on the reverse? He absorbed the pagan holidays and worship into the Roman Catholic religion. Even the early pilgrims to the Americas refused to celebrate Christmas because they knew of its pagan origins. The Catholic link. The Catholic institution practiced, matter of fact, it said, before I move on. So even early pilgrims to the Americas refused to celebrate Christmas because they knew of its pagan origins. Let's see. When did let's put the United States start celebrating Christmas? It says the United States began celebrating Christmas as an official federal holiday in 1870. So even here in America, they didn't start celebrating Christmas till 1870, when President Ulysses S. Grant signed the bill making it a national holiday. So the pilgrims, even they didn't keep Christmas when they came over. And the reason they knew of its pagan origins. The Catholic link. The Catholic institution practices a blasphemy known as the Mass, where the sacrifice that Yahushua made is supposedly repeated. When the church celebrates the Eucharist, she commemorates Christ's Passover. What's the Eucharist? What is that piece of bread? Is okay. Let me see. The Eucharist, also called the Holy Communion, the piece of bread, or the Lord's Supper, is a central Christian ritual where bread and wine become the body and blood of Yahushua Mashiach, just like the book says. And it is made present as often as the sacrifice of the cross by which Christ our Pesach, meaning Passover, has been sacrificed, is celebrated on the altar. The work of our redemption is carried out. That's out of This is a excerpt out of Catholic Catechisms, page 343. This is where the name Christ Mass comes from. And therefore, the name of the quote-unquote holy day itself is abhorrent. This is a blatant blasphemy because the scriptures state, verse Hebrews 10:12, he, speaking of Yahushua, having offered one slaughter, offering for sins for all time, sat down on the right hand of Yahweh. Why do you celebrate Christmas? A large number of Christians continue to honor this celebration, even though they know some or all of the truth about this celebration. They respond that they do it to honor God, or that they make it a festival for Him. This is actually a familiar story, and in doing so, we make ourselves as big a bunch of sinners as those Israelites that rebelled in the wilderness. You was gonna say?
And inadvertently, when we talk about them celebrating it, the Catholics are the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
So the Romans are celebrating Romans. This celebration could be linked to them celebrating Revelations 12:4.
Mm-hmm.
And his tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered to devour her child as soon as that was born. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Yahweh into his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of Yahweh, that they should feed her for 1,260 days. The third of heaven was the three tribes. It was us, the southern tribes. That was right. So they tore down the three scores, and it was Herod, the great dragon. We see Esau is the red man or the great dragon. He stood forth waiting for the man-child. He's waiting for the three so-called jinn to come back and give him the information of the man-child that was born. And as a result, he fulfilled, what was that, Matthew 2:16, where there was a great cry in Ramah, and Ramoth could not be, what was that? That was Matthew 2:16. Then Herod saw that he was mocked with of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coast thereof from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he diligently acquired by the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, in Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, would not be comforted because they are not. So there was a sacrifice on Christmas. That was all of the children 2 years old and under in the place of Christ.
Right, come. Where are we at?
And we celebrate that crucifixion of the people of Christ and the children of Christ.
When we give them to Christmas.
God.
Read that. Next book, Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop. Chapter 3 on festivals, section 1, going into Christmas and Lady Day. The festivals of Rome are innumerable, but 5 of the most important may be singled out for elucidation: Christmas Day, Lady Day, Easter, the Nativity of St. John, and the Feast of the Assumption. Each and all of these can be proved to be Babylonian. And first, as to the festival in honor of the birth of Christ, or Christmas, how comes it that that festival was connected with the 25th of December? There is not a word in the scriptures about the precise day of his birth or the time of the year when he was born. What is recorded there implies that at what time soever his birth took place, it could not have been on the 25th of December, at the time that the angel announced his birth to the shepherds of Bethlehem. They were feeding their flocks by night in the open fields. Now, no doubt the climate of Palestine is not so severe as the climate of this country, but even there, though the heat of the day be considerable, the cold of the night from December to February is very piercing. So once again, going back to it not being matching up with scripture that Yahushua would have been born December 25th. And it was not the custom for the shepherds of Judea to watch their flocks in the open fields later than about the end of October. See that? It is in the last degree incredible then that the birth of Christ could have taken place at the end of December. Moving on, page 93, highlighted part. How then did the Roman Church fix on December the 25th as Christmas Day. Why thus? Long before the 4th century and long before the Christian era itself, a festival was celebrated among the heathen at that precise time of the year in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian queen of heaven, and it may fairly be presumed that in order to conciliate the heathen and to swell the number of the nominal adherents to Christianity, the same festival was adopted by the Roman Church, giving it only the name of Christ. This tendency on the part of Christians to meet paganism halfway, you see that? It was the building up of Christianity. To build it up, it was a custom where they would oftentimes meet paganism halfway to do what? Get more followers, to satisfy the masses.
Like another holidays.
Right. And it's specifically the one that's going on this past week, Christmas, because it goes back to all types of paganism and just vain tradition. But they do what? They blend it, they mold it, and they formulate it to please the masses. And that's something that they've been doing from the onset of Christianity.
We're still seeing that same contention. I think that's over in Sweden where they won't give up Swarty Pete.
Swarty Pete, right.
They try to cancel that. I mean, those people rough.
That's exactly, that's right. And it's so bad. They be having like protests that get violent over that. Like, remember like the Black Lives Matter rallies where you see tear gas and all that? They up in Holland having similar things, demonstrations over Swarty Pete. Because the whites don't want to get rid of it. And the blacks, they trying to get rid of it because it's racist as hell.
They know the bloodshed.
Mm-hmm.
They can appreciate the bloodshed.
So this tendency on the part of Christians to meet paganism halfway was very early developed. And we find Tertullian, even in his day, about the year 230, bitterly lamenting the inconsistency of the disciples of Christ in this respect, and contrasting it with the strict fidelity of the pagans to their own superstition. He says, by us, who are strangers to Sabbaths and new moons and festivals, once acceptable to God, because he's a Roman, he's an Edomite, the Saturnalia, the Feast of January, the Brumalia, and Matronalia. So the Feast of January, he's probably speaking of Janus, which also everybody's about to celebrate when they bring in the New Year's, really, the Feast of Janus. The Brumalia and Matronalia are now frequented. Gifts are carried to and fro. See that? So the Saturnalia involved gift giving. Gifts are carried to and fro. Right, in antebellum here in America, we were the gifts. Kind. And New Year's Day presents are made with din, and sports and banquets are celebrated with uproar. But these holiday seasons for America, what are they filled with? Banqueting. Sports is everywhere. They primetime TV. They got the NBA triple header for Christmas Day. Then this Xmas Day, they brought in NFL for the first time, triple header for the NFL. So you had the Christmas Day NFL games, Christmas Day NBA games, all the banqueting, all the different Christmas parties. Your job, all the jobs be having, families having. It's just like the same as Saturnalia back in the early ADs, right? And says celebrated with uproar. Sounds just like Christmas today. Sounds just like Christmas today. Drop down a little bit. That Christmas was originally a pagan festival is beyond all doubt. So this is beyond all doubt when you actually, when like Alexander Hislop did, actually went and did some digging, went and did some investigating into the history and different documents and historical accounts. It's beyond all doubt that Christmas is a pagan festival. The time of the year and the ceremonies with which it is still celebrated prove its origin. In Egypt, the son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time, about the time of the winter solstice, the very name by which Christmas is popularly known among ourselves, Yule Day. Now, your average Jake don't know about Yule Day or refer to it as Yule Day, but if you don't know, that's also another name for Christmas. With the Edomites, they would call it Yule Day. Proves at once its pagan and Babylonian origin. Yule is the Chaldee name for an infant or little child. So Yule Day would be Child Day. Another way to say Christmas, Christ Day, the birth of Christ, right? See that? And as the 25th of December was called by our pagan Anglo-Saxon ancestors Yule Day or the Child's Day, and the night that preceded it, Mother Night, long before they came in contact with Christianity, that sufficiently proves its real character. Also says far and wide in the realms of paganism was this birthday observed. Meaning what? You can look at different cultures and they all, most of them will have some type of celebration for December 25th. And it might have different names, but it all goes back to the same idea, the same origin. Drop down. Page 96, highlighted part. It was no mere astronomical festival then that the pagans celebrated at the winter solstice. That festival at Rome was called the Feast of Saturn, and the mode in which it was celebrated there showed whence it had been derived. The feast, as regulated by Caligula, lasted 5 days. It's a little bit different now. It's the 12 days of Christmas? That's all. See, it just changes, but it be the same things. Caligula had Saturn lasting 5 days. Now you got up today the 12 days of Christmas. Look, huh?
That was argued in the Council of Chalcedon 451. They argued the point about Christ being fully Christ and fully divine.
Mm-hmm.
They never made a decision on that, but they did have Christmas for 12 days.
Okay. See? And that was the same Rome. That was what, the Holy Roman Empire?
Yes.
Just that for what AD?
451.
Like a couple hundred years later. It just went. It's not 5 now. It's bringing in Christmas, moving off Saturnalia. It ain't 5. It's 12. God. So it lasted 5 days with Caligula. Loose reins were given to drunkenness. What's one of the main things that happens at any good Christmas party? Striking the eggnog and some drunkenness. Some drunkenness. Co-workers, drunkenness, and co-workers waking up next to each other in the morning with 100 missed calls from their significant others. drunkenness, and revelry. Slaves had a Josiah. Slaves had a temporary emancipation and used all manner of freedoms with their masters. This was precisely the way in which, according to Berosus, the drunken festival of the month Tebeth, answering to our December, in other words, the festival of Bacchus, was celebrated in Babylon. It was the custom, says he, during the 5 days it lasted, for masters to be in subjection to their servants, and one of them ruled the house, clothed in a purple garment like a king. This purple-robed servant was called Zoganes, the man of sport and wantonness, and answered exactly to the Lord of Misrule, that in the dark ages was chosen in all popish countries to head the revels of Christmas. The wassailing bowl of Christmas had its precise counterpart in the drunken festival of Babylon, and many of the other observances still kept up among ourselves at Christmas came from the very same quarter. The candles in some parts of England lighted on Christmas Eve and used so long as the festive season lasts, were equally lighted by the pagans on the eve of the festival of the Babylonian god, to do honor to him, for it was one of the distinguishing peculiarities of his worship to have lighted wax candles on his altars. The Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. In Egypt, that tree was the palm tree. In Rome, it was the fir tree. The palm tree denoting the pagan Messiah as Baal Tamar, the fir referring to him as Baal Berith. The mother of Adonis, the sun god and great mediatorial divinity, was mystically said to have been changed into a tree, and when in that state to have brought forth her divine son. If the mother was a tree, the son must have been recognized as the man, the branch, and this entirely accounts for the putting of the Yule log into the fire on Christmas Eve. Because that's custom we probably ain't acquainted with, but there was the custom that they would put the Yule log in the fire on Christmas Eve, right? Which represented the trees, the mother. This is what this custom. The log was the sun, right? The sun must have been recognized as the man, the branch. Anyway, so this entirely accounts for putting the Yule log into the fire on Christmas Eve and the appearance of the Christmas tree the next morning. As Zoroaster, the seed of the woman, which name also signified Ignigena, or born of the fire, he has to enter the fire on Mother Night, that he may be born the next day out of it as the branch of God. So the Yule log and the tree both represent the son being born, right? Or the tree that brings all divine gifts to men. But why, it may be asked, does he enter the fire under the symbol of a log? To understand this, it must be remembered that the divine child at the winter solstice was born as a new incarnation of the great God after that God had been cut in pieces on purpose to revenge his death upon his murderers. And what God was that? Tammuz or Nimrod. Khan.
His mother used that as a means to be able to raise the kingdom. His spirit came back.
Yup, exactly. I believe it's about to go into that. So the Christmas tree, as has been stated, was generally at Rome a different tree, even the fir, but the very same idea as was implied in the palm tree was implied in the Christmas fir. for that covertly symbolized the newborn god as Baal Berith, which means Lord of the Covenant. And I'll just keep reading. And thus shadowed forth the perpetuity and everlasting nature of his power. Now that after having fallen before his enemies, he have risen triumphant over them all. Therefore, the 25th of December, the day that was observed at Rome as the day when the victorious God reappeared on earth, was held at the Natalis Invictus, the birthday of the unconquered sun. So it's all about sun worship. All about sun worship. Now the Yule log is the dead stock of Nimrod. So it was Nimrod, the Yule log going into the fire. That's the dead stock of Nimrod, deified as the sun god, but cut down by his enemies. The Christmas tree is Nimrod Redivivus, the slain, which means the slain god come to life again. In the light reflected by the above statement on customs that still linger among us, the origin of which has been lost in the midst of hoar antiquity, let the reader look at the singular practice still kept up in the South on Christmas Eve of kissing under the mistletoe bough. That mistletoe bough in the Druidic superstition, which, as we have seen, was derived from Babylon, was a representation of the Messiah, the man, the branch. The mistletoe was regarded as a divine branch, a branch that came from heaven and grew upon a tree that sprung out of the earth. See, it's all based upon Nimrod worship, idolatrous practices, and just things made up. Christ is called the branch, so now in the South, they started the custom of kissing under the mistletoe being the branch, representing Christ. None of this we find in Scripture, all man made up, Esau made up, Satan made up.
See, this very day we're watching them continually modify that. Like the Green Grinch. The Green Grinch is when you had, I think that was the Council of the Bar, where they argued about the government spending so much money on lighting and stuff. That what they called them, the argument was over money. That's how you got the image the Grinch. It was people who were resisting the spending of all the government money on this holiday that you call Christmas. So they were the humbugging people.
Okay, that's a new one. So we're gonna have to get some. We're gonna have to get some writers information on that added. Yeah, get some receipts on that. So, but it makes sense. They took a real man named Nicholas, who was given sainthood, called him Saint Nick. In German, it sounds like Santa Claus. Now today, you got Santa Claus, old Saint Nick, and he gives gifts to the world. And this guy Nicholas was known for giving, right? So now today, like you said, they modified it. Back in time, you had the who? But who was bucking up against Christmas?
Oh, you had people
in Norway and Sweden. They was because of the money aspect. Because of the cost. Because the cost of all the lighting and the celebration was running up too much pockets. The people were festive in the Christmas spirit, but these cats was against it because of the hit that was cost, the hit that was being taken, and now they went and took that and they made this character called the Grinch, who's against Christmas. And he sees all the people celebrating and happy and joyous, and he's getting mad and he's up going against it. Yeah. That goes right along with everything else that's we're pulling out. Reading down on this page, it says, thus the very customs of Christmas still existent cast surprising light at once on the revelations of grace made to all the earth and the efforts made by Satan and his emissaries to materialize, carnalize, and degrade them. So now, moving away from that book to Babylon's, we'll look into a couple of the things that we read about in both the books we read through, and start with the Saturnalia. So, and before reading about the Saturnalia, I'm going to pull up. So we read. So we already read how all these different festivals and celebrations, the Romans, the Babylonians, Egyptians were keeping, all of it being December 25th, going back to sun god, Ra, Nimrod, Saturnalia. So now we're touching on Saturnalia. And in the readings before, it mentioned Antiochus Epiphanes bringing Zeus into the temple. So that was Saturnalia. And read for me 1 Maccabees chapter 1. 1 verse 59. 1 verse 59. And this is Antiochus.
First Maccabees 1 verse 59. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of Yahweh. So
this was Antiochus, that like we read before. And now jump to, and this was the 25th day. So, and he was a Greek, but he had been a hostage in Rome. And when he was in Rome, what did he do? He learned the ways of the Romans. And he brought Saturnalia to the temple. And when they brought Saturnalia to the temple, what did that involve? Go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 1. 6 verse 1. Let me go there while you hold on real quick. 2 Maccabees 6 and 1, because we're reading about the Saturnalia. We're about to read the Wikipedia of it. But first, in the Bible, showing that when Antiochus came to try and conquer Jerusalem, he brought Saturnalia. And we read before about fertility. What was it? Fertility worship. Right. And the different festivities that come along with it. Well, we're going to see that that's exact everything we read on about the fertility worship. We're going to see here that was brought into the temple with Antiochus and the keeping of Saturnalia. Because remember, in the book we read before, it said that he brought Zeus into the temple, who is also known as Jupiter. So read chapter 6, verse 1 down to 5.
2 Maccabees 6 and 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of Yahweh.
Mm-hmm. That's been one of the main themes of heathen throughout the ages, is to convince the Israelites to leave off from the worship of our God, because they had the understanding that if we was in God's favor, we was in Yahweh's favor, he would protect us. He would protect our temple. He would protect our dwellings. But if we went away from him, he would give place for the heathens to come in and destroy us. So every time you read about the heathens, it's one way or another, they're trying to get us to leave off the customs. But Antiochus, the Edomites, the way all the heathens understood that and tried to take advantage of it, Esau and his hatred for Jacob, they were trying to do this tenfold more, right? That's why today we are where we are, and we worship what they taught us, right? So go ahead, verse 2.
Verse 2. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympus, and that Garism of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place.
Mm-hmm.
The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. For the temple was filled with riotous and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallying with harlots and had to do with women, wherewith the circuit of hope within the circuit of the holy places, and beside that brought in things that were not lawful.
So that's real quick. So we read pretty much all that stuff in the fertility customs. Statues with emphasized sexual features. Well, he did bring in the statue of Zeus, but the sacrifices, right, and ritual sex prostitution. That was being what's the word? That was what was being used for the celebrating of Saturnalia. We read it right here. So the temple was filled with the riot, the reveling, the dallying with harlots, and having to do with women in the circuit of holy places. Because Saturnalia is a fertility ritual. Christmas is a molded and transformed version of the Saturnalia. Molded with the birth of Christ, Saturnalia, all the Nimrod, all molded together in one, and put a bow on it. What verse did you read down to?
5.
And the altar was filled with profane things. And like we talked about earlier, Christmas. What's the staple Christmas dinner? A ham, abominable meat, the pig. Right. So we can drop that. Now we're gonna go back. So this is what Antiochus brought in when he brought in the celebrating of Saturnalia, which is one of the customs that Christmas is sprung up from. So now. Real quick. Saturnalia. So Saturnalia is an ancient Roman festival and holiday in honor of the god Saturn, held on 17th of December in the Julian calendar, and later expanded with festivities until the 19th December. So we understand it. December 17th, because the calendar has changed through time. Now it doesn't go off the moon. In ancient time, the months went off of the moon, and the New Year started in April, right? March, April. So that's why we read in the scriptures that it was the 25th. And when we read these different books, it says December 25th, because that's just a general date. Nowadays, we have the months. It ain't back then it was Caslu. Now it's January to December. So it says December 25th, but it was really like Caslu the 25th, which lines up more in line with usually like, actually changes. We actually see. So whenever they put together this Wikipedia, it was the 17th of December. But I think last year it fell like I think it fell like right along with the regular calendar. I think I can't remember, but sometimes the 25th of Caslu will line up right with December 25th. But that's where you get that date from. But that's why it's different here. So in the Julian calendar, it's 17th of December or 19th. But like we read in the actual Bible, it was the 25th of the month Caslu. For a total, so by the first century BC, the celebration had been extended until the 23rd of December for a total of 7 days of festivity. So, like I was saying earlier, it's always changing. 5 days, 3 days. Now today it's the 12 days of Christmas. The holiday was celebrated with sacrifice at the Temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum, and a public banquet followed. So once again, Christmas parties, Saturnalia parties, and followed by private gift giving and continual partying. So you had December 25th, Christmas Day comes, you're giving the gifts. Some people at the parties beforehand are giving gifts. And then after the gift giving's over, every kids is out of school till after New Year's, and people are festive from the whole time until the New Year comes in, right? Just showing that it was no different in ancient time when the Romans would celebrate Saturnalia. And a carnival atmosphere. Isn't it a carnival-like atmosphere everywhere you go? Was it the Christmas spirit? Same now was same then. That atmosphere that overturned Roman social norms. Gambling was permitted, and all that stuff we can drop. Actually, I'm dropped down a little bit. The gifts exchanged were usually gag gifts or small figurines made of wax or pottery, but gag gifts. A gag gift is a practical joke device. Oftentimes, like with different little gift giving games, people would give gag gifts at like Christmas parties, things like that. You understand? So that's not something that's new. That was also part of Saturnalia, the giving of gag gifts. Like you might be at a Christmas party and you might have a deck of cards that are like each card has a like a joke on it that's not for kids. It's like 101 of the raunchiest jokes. It's 101 cards with some, real X-rated stuff, but it's funny to adults when you read it. That would be like a gag gift. So a minute. Go back. So with Saturnalia, there was a whole spirit in the air during Saturnalia, which is similar to the same as today. Now you have that Christmas spirit in the air. Seneca the Younger, who was a Roman philosopher, he wrote a book called Moral Letters. And in letter 18, he wrote on festivals and fasting, and he wrote on Saturnalia. And you'll see that this is very similar to that Christmas spirit that's in the air today. So he wrote, it is the month of December, and yet the city is at this very moment in a sweat. Remember Christmas Eve? Anybody go out Christmas Eve? Well, I did. I had to go out. I had to go get I forget. But either way, I went to Price's Corner. Price's Corner was packed. Wasn't nowhere to park. All the stores had patrons going in and out, had long lines. I walked into DTLR, and I guess they were about to close. And dudes, it's all types of people in there. And the guy comes out of the dressing room, and he tells the other worker, "Lock the door." He's mad because he's like, the door's locked. He's trying to go home, but because it's nonstop, people coming in, everybody trying to get in those last shopping to get these last minute gifts. So that the city was in a moment of sweat Christmas Eve, and that's not just here; that's everywhere. You go to any shopping center last Wednesday night, it was hard to find parking, right? So the same as Rome back in the time of Saturnalia. License is given to the general merrymaking. What's that sound like? Sounds like Christmas, don't it? Everything resounds with mighty preparations. They've been preparing for Christmas since when? Thanksgiving. And some even before. Some stores were stocking up with Christmas stuff before, but then especially Thanksgiving always really brings it in. Where Thanksgiving comes in, and then it's now 100% Christmas and preparing for Christmas Day to come. So resounds with mighty preparations as if the Saturnalia deferred it all from the usual business day. You see how exactly the way it happens today, it was happening in Rome back then. So true it is that the difference is nil, that I regard as correct the remark of the man who said, once December was a month, now it is a year. That's just talking about how December is on such a high level according as opposed to all the other months, where it's almost not a month anymore. December is like its own year. That's crazy. That's how it was when the Saturnalia was being celebrated. If I had you with me, I should be glad to consult you and find out what you think should be done. Whether we ought to make no change in our daily routine, or whether, in order not to be out of sympathy with the ways of the public, we should dine in gayer fashion and doff the toga. And doff means to put off. So everybody, that's similar to today as well. So they would put off the toga being the regular attire, right? Nowadays, what do? And they have special days of work to do it. Or it might just be a special night at the bar to do it. Or it might be a special party thrown to do it specifically. I'm going to give you a second. And it really got real popular now.
Hey.
Christmas sweaters. That's a big thing now. Like,
Look, Mama.
they have days, Christmas sweater day at your job. Or they got Christmas sweater day at the bar you go to. Like you rocking your Christmas sweater, you might get a half off of the top shelf tonight, right? Mm-hmm. So it was similar then. Regularly they put off they wear the toga, but when Saturnalia come on, they take the toga off and replace it with gayer fashion. And gay not being homosexual, gayer being because they was already homos in the toga. But yeah, let me look it up in the 1828. Gay. So they replaced the toga with a gayer fashion. And like you said, Mary, yeah, that's the definition. So gay being merry. So yeah, just like today, they put off the regular attire and throw on that Christmas sweater to be merry in the Christmas spirit. Like this is history. You can't make this up. So when somebody says that Christmas ain't got nothing to do with the Saturnalia, well, damn, it's the son of it. Like I got a text the other night, a picture of my son said, "You carbon copied all your sons." Ooh, Christmas is a carbon copy son of Saturnalia. So you can say it ain't Saturnalia all you want, but the son is the father. So Christmas is its daddy. As it is now, we Romans have changed our dress for the sake of pleasure and holiday making, though in former times that was only customary when the state was disturbed and falling on evil days. So even with him, this was a newer occurrence than more ancient time in Rome. But like I said, it's the same thing. So now move on to the Yule celebration a little bit. So let me go into the Wikipedia. See what it says about Yule. So Yule, like we read about before, Yule is a winter festival historically observed by the Germanic peoples. In Anglo-Saxon England, Yule was linked to the winter solstice. What's the winter solstice? The winter solstice occurs when either of Earth's poles reaches its maximum tilt away from the sun. This happens twice yearly. Once in each hemisphere. For that hemisphere, the winter solstice is the day with the shortest period of daylight and longest night of the year. So the Yule was always linked with the winter solstice and Christmas. See that? In Old English, the months of December and January were named after it. In medieval Scandinavia, Yule was a Norse pagan feast, which seems to have been originally held in January. Yule is claimed to have been merged with Christmas during Christianization of the Germanic peoples. See that? So once again, all through history, we're finding out all these different similar December 25th celebrations through time to satisfy the masses and to get more followers of this common religion and celebration. They would blend the different customs to make one. Let me read down a little more. The term Yule and Yuletide, along with their cognates, are still used in English and Scandinavian languages, as well as in Finnish and Estonian, to describe Christmas and the season of Christmastide. Furthermore, some present-day Christmas customs and traditions, such as the Yule log, Yule goat, Yule boar, and Yule singing, is just like what? Caroling. So same as you got now, you got the Christmas caroling. With the Yule celebration, you would have Yule singing. May have connections to older pagan Yule traditions. And I'll read this last paragraph. Today, followers of some new religious movements, such as modern Germanic paganism, celebrate a holiday they call Yule, independently of the Christian festival of Christmas. While some scholars have linked the original celebrations of Yule to the wild hunt, the god Odin, and the heathen Anglo-Saxon Modernit or Mother's Night, like we read before, others have questioned the existence of a pre-Christian festival called Yule, holding that the term arose in the Christian era as a synonym of Christmas. Well, there's always going to be doubters. Why does it keep doing this? Crap. So similarities, Saturnalia and Yule. Saturnalia is Roman. Yule is North Germanic. Christmas, United States American. And present day Babylonian Edomitish. Saturnalia, 5th century BC to about AD 448. Yule was ancient Norse to the present. Celebrated Saturnalia December 27th, 17th to 23rd, or that changes because it's Caslu, 25th day of Caslu. Winter solstice, 3 to 12 days. Saturnalia, welcome the return of the sun god Saturn. Yule celebrated the return of the sun. Saturnalia symbolized the renewal of agriculture and light. Yule symbolized the return of light and warmth of the sun. Saturnalia, role reversals, feasting, gift giving, social upheaval. Yule log, feasting, gift giving, way sailing, animal sacrifice. Saturnalia, Saturn rode a 4-horse chariot. Yule, Odin rode an 8-legged horse, Sleipnir. Christmas, Santa rides a 8, sometimes 9-headed reindeer sleigh. See that? You can't make this up. They all go hand in hand. In witchcraft, they have winter solstice rituals. Some of these are very similar to Christmas as well. Decorate your home with Yule decorations. As you see the, what's it called? Them leaves with the cherries. You kiss under it.
Mistletoe.
Yeah, mistletoe and ornaments. See the bells. Have a bonfire, light candles. Christmas, you light candles if you got a fireplace. A lot of people like to make sure they keep the fire burning because they also representing the Yule log, right? Drink mulled wine. Christmas, drink eggnog, alcoholic eggnog if you're an adult. Leave some milk and cookies for Santa Claus. Witchcraft celebrates the winter solstice by making evergreen wreaths. Christmas, you put on your door an evergreen leaf. Make some time for reflection. Make gingerbread. Winter solstice celebrators make gingerbread for the winter solstice. Christmas celebrators make what? Gingerbread for Christmas. Gingerbread men, gingerbread houses, and when I was in elementary school, they had us made gingerbread ornaments. Skip that since it's getting close to that time. Swarty Pete. So now today we have elves, but those elves came from this. Swarty Pete. Swarty Pete was in Holland. Santa Claus, or their way of saying Santa Claus, he had slaves, and he didn't have elves. And the slave's name was Swarty Pete. We was talking about earlier how now that's causing much contention in Holland today, because rightfully so, the people, the black people are mad and offended, and the white people, they like it, they want to keep it. So they're going back and forth trying to outlaw Swarty Pete. But the white people in Holland, they holding fast to Swarty Pete. They not hearing it. But this is where you get your Santa Claus and his elves from. And you sitting here today, turning on the TV to watch your Christmas movies, and kids getting all excited about the elves in the North Pole getting their presents ready. But way back when, the elves was your ancestors in slavery. And serving all the good Christian white people their gifts. He ain't bringing the gifts to the black home. Santa was going around with his black slave and filling stockings of the good white kids.
So, I had a friend who attended one of these events, and she said that it was so spooky because the people were like so giddy and so excited about it, where they had people dressing up as like black slaves
Mhm.
that were cooks, that were cleaners, as well as this outfit that you see with Santa Claus on. She said that the way they laughed and they smiled, she says it was creepy.
Mm-hmm. And from what I've seen, that's a real creepy place.
Yeah.
Holland. I ain't never been, but when I see it on TV, even just the way the houses, or row homes are, it just looks real creepy, and the people look creepy. And from the videos I've seen of the Swarty Pete celebrations, that looks creepy, like you just described just now. It looks real creepy, and the way they act is creepy, and the way they talk is creepy. And this also, they always claim it's just fun. It's so much fun. So basically, it's fun to make a mockery of a people you had in slavery.
The lady that went to the event, her husband is Esau.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Jake.
Mm-hmm.
He took her to the event, freaked her out.
Man, I hope she woke up. Hope she woke up from that.
I said, I think you made the wrong
Yeah, I
thing.
think you need to. Yeah, I think you need to run. You ever seen Get Out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to get out. But yeah, like even, and that's what I was talking about. This postcard is good. Like them houses kind of look creepy. These houses look like they owned by some old white man, and he got some black children in the basement. They do. They look like that.
Yeah. They hold fast to their tradition.
This older photo. Look at that. It just looks. It don't look right. Like if I see this, I'm turned without the truth. If I see this, I'm thinking twice about Santa Claus and his elves. I just am. Because, the scriptures say you can't take make something clean out of an unclean thing. That's what the scriptures say. Matter of fact, what's it? Job 14:4.
That's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. That it's not the same. It's not like it was. Because they believe they cleaned it up.
Exactly. And they try to link it, and that's where it's like you try to link it with Christ. You try to link it with being in accordance with your God. But your God said what Job, he left this.
Job 14:4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean?
That's a question. And now it's going to answer. Not one. So you can't, you just can't. You can't take this and turn it to this, and now it's clean. See that? You can't. This is unclean. Oh, we'll just change it a bit. Oh, now it's clean. No, it's not. No, it's not. And scripture says that.
Which Genesis is rooted in blood and oppression.
And then now you know the history. You know that it. Hold on. So it goes back to this. I mean, think about it. What's the duties of the elves? They live in the North Pole and they do what all year? Serve Santa Claus. They're slaves. They never get to go home. They're stuck in eternal slavery for Santa Claus. And this is where they get their origin.
And how they say the same thing that they say about slavery and the oppression of black people. All get over it.
I'll get over it, yeah.
these holidays predicated on its history.
Don't get over the Holocaust. Don't get over 9/11.
Yeah.
Don't get over I can't think of another one, but don't get over them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But get over slavery. Amazing.
And these are celebratory feast days that celebrate the original slavery.
So look at this. When you see these now, they cartoon them up, make them with pointy ears, but no, these are Black Pete's. These little servants for Santa are Black Pete's. Swarty Pete, Swarty Pete, Swarty Pete, Swarty Pete, Swarty Pete. It's funny now. It's funny now. No, he is Swarty Pete. You can put him in the suit. You can have him tell jokes and make funnies for 2 hours in a movie, but no, it's still a slave named Swarty Pete. Like I remember as a kid, I'd watch this every Christmas. I had no idea these was Santa's slaves.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't wait for it to come.
Couldn't wait for it to come on.
You were troubled if you missed it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had to wait a whole year to be able to enjoy in the U-Log, like you said. I mean, the singing.
The whole time these was Black slaves that wasn't getting fed if they didn't make 100 toys in an hour. I saw them laughing and singing, and I thought, man, them elves are so happy. I wish I could be there hanging out with them elves. Ask one of them to make me a bike.
Like it says,
Think about it.
31 through 3, it says, in the land of our captivities, we will rethink ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's such a troubling thing for this nation, anyhow, that we're waking up or woke is a threat, because it's a threat to all of their holidays. It's a threat to everything that they hold up high.
Because that threat to the holidays is major. That's a threat to the money.
Yes, exactly.
That's a threat to economy. Mm-hmm. So that was elves. So elves before they was the slave. Then they just got a little makeup, a little changeover. Now moving on to crumpets. So crumpets is what you had before you had coal. So now it's been molded, reshaped to be a little bit more pleasant for the masses. And now the story goes, he knows when you've been bad or good, and if you're on that naughty list, you might get a lump of coal in your stocking, right? Before it was, if you're bad and you're on the naughty list, this is what you get. You would get a visit from this guy. You wouldn't get cold, you would get Satan's devil. So Satan had, I said it correct, Satan. Santa, which you just changed a couple of letters, is Satan. He had two things. Well, he had three things. He had rulership. He had authority, slave master. He had a slave. So the master had a slave, and he had a demon, a devilish spirit. All those things are what slave masters actually have. Slaves and a devilish spirit. Santa Claus had a slave and a demon, not a lump of coal to get your ass if you got on that naughty list. The Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure who, in the Central and Eastern Alpine folklore tradition, is said to accompany Saint Nicholas on visits to children during the night. With this backstory is December 5th, immediately before the feast of Saint Nicholas on December 6th. In this tradition, Saint Nicholas rewards well-behaved children with small gifts, while Krampus punishes badly behaved ones with birch rods. So instead of getting a lump of coal, you had this demon come and chastise you with birch rods. Once again, you can't make an unclean thing clean. So while you're celebrating Christmas and you're taking part in all the other things, Santa, you teaching your kids Santa, and they'll get a lump of coal if they're bad, and elves are making gifts. The truth is, all of it's fake. But and not only that, it was Santa had a slave that made the gifts for the good white children, and Krampus, and he had a devil to punish all the bad children.
And that's a rendition of how we got Christianity coming in as an image of light, but the inward was a real beast.
Mm-hmm. Kind. The inward was Krampus.
Yeah.
Giving us that Krampus spirit. And now they even making movies today to even they trying to clean him up. But yeah, so instead of lump of coal, you got a visit from Krampus, the kidnapper. And he wasn't cold, but he was black, by the way. Wonder why they paint him black. Gotta keep him ugly. Black's ugly.
Reinforcing what black is defined as deceptive.
So yeah, like when you get all this information, why celebrate it? Because Satan is celebrated too. They know why they do you? That's a good question. So after all this, why would you want to keep celebrating Christmas? God knows. God knows. But it's a lie. The creator of Christmas is the father of it, father of lies. And teaching our kids that to take part in this, and that there's a man named Santa that brings them gifts and elves, and just because it's fun and they have a good time, they having a good time believing a lie, you're actually setting them up for failure, because you're teaching them from a young age it's okay to believe in lies. And so if it's okay believing lies, it's okay for you to tell me lies. It's also okay for me to lie and for me to make lies. Right? So you're really setting them up for failure, and you're setting them up to be denied entrance into the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, it seems cool. It's just fun and games. This fun and games, but in the long run, keep you out of the kingdom of heaven. Because we read in Revelation chapter 22 that those without were dogs, whoremongers, murderers, idolaters, and those that love lies and made up lies, right? Paraphrasing. So yeah, don't teach your kids Christmas. And if you've already taught them Christmas, teach them it was wrong. Teach them the truth. With that, close out by giving all praise, glory, honor, Yahweh, by Shem Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. Once again, if you'd like to donate, help us out in the ministry, the Cash App's going across the bottom of the screen, hashtag Hebrew Chosen Elect, the Y in advance. And once again, Shabbat Shalom and Kwam Yashala.
I'm not sure.